Radio Times. John Kaneen retired from radio earlier this year due to ill health. We wish him very well indeed, but we miss you, John. However, John Barker has taken over as suggested by John Kaneen himself as a new presenter, and I caught up with him to find out what we can expect from the new show, which is already going very well indeed. Here's a little snippet of last week's just to give you an idea.
Vocals are also by Sam Carter. Now for some acoustic guitar. 2 tunes from Mark Lawrence's album, Skelion E-Guitar, one written by Mark and one by Sister Katie, High Tide and Direct.
So I am here with the new presenter of Manx Radio's folk show, John Barker. It's lovely to see you. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks, Christy. Thanks for having me on the show.
You've produced the first show now. It has been on air and very well received indeed. Big shoes you're filling though, aren't they?
Well, absolutely. I mean, John Kaneen is a hard act to follow. You know, something like 40 years of doing the Manx Radio folk show.
How did it feel knowing that you were his choice to take over the show?
Well, we talked about it at the session where we regularly play on a Wednesday night, and it just came up. And John was saying he was retiring, and I said, I wouldn't mind doing that. And he just sort of went from there, really. So, yeah, but, you know, I just do it my own way. I can't copy John or his style, you know. He's very much an individual.
So make it your own, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But you mentioned the sessions. You are a well-known musician over here. You've been playing for some time, haven't you? Just give us, for those who don't know you, just give us a little bit of a background musically.
Well, musically, you know, I've been on the island now 35 years, and I played in bands in the UK before I came over, so I've obviously been playing for a very long time. I've played electric rock. I run the blues club in Douglas. Used to help running the blues festival when it was in Laxey. So, you know, there's lots there. But at the core of it, I've always been a folkie, really. I've played acoustic mostly. I mean, I do miss playing electric. I don't play quite as much of that as I used to. But, yeah, lots of guitar, mandolin, singing, that sort of thing.
And one of the best things on the island, I think, live music-wise, is the sessions, isn't it? They're dotted all over the place. Tell us a bit about the session that you're involved with.
Well, the regular session that I go to would be the Wednesday night in O'Donnell's in Douglas, where there's a good crowd of musicians will get down there around about 9 o'clock every week, and it's great fun. We all just play tunes and sing songs. But there's others, you know, there's the Mitre in Ramsey on a Friday night, there's the Folk Club in Ramsey, and there's various other sessions sort of pop up every 2 weeks, or the first Sunday of a month, for example, it's Laxey Sailing Club. So there's always something going on. And
it's always a really friendly atmosphere as well, isn't it? And welcoming to new musicians too, I think.
Absolutely, yes. There's nothing elitist or, you know, segregated about it at all. Anything goes, really.
Yeah, so you're very much immersed in the trad scene, really, over here, as well as all the other scenes as well, which is great to hear. So is any of that going to kind of translate into your presentation style in the folk show?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I'd like to get some of the regular folky musicians in to the programme and have a chat and play. In fact, the show on the 11th of October is me having a big long chat with John Kaneen. I sat down with him at his house a couple of weeks ago, and interspersed with music that's made, you know, been part of his life in all that time. So that's quite an interesting one. It's more of a documentary almost than a folk show, as it were, but it's a fascinating chat with John. And similar things, hopefully, in the future with other musicians from the island.
Oh, that'd be lovely. Maybe some sessions. Could you do some sessions?
Yeah. I'm not sure I'm up to operating the equipment for a live session yet, but we'll get there. And certainly, I think we're hoping to have the Lawrences in, Katie, Christy, Mark, perhaps Al as well, who knows, certainly for a session at some point.
Exciting times ahead for the folk show, which is excellent. And obviously, as we know, John has got such a wealth of knowledge sort of historically as well, you know, with some of the old sessions and old music from back in the day as well. Are we going to get a flavour of that too, or are you going to sort of focus more on the sort of the now and the modern? Or?
Oh, I'd like to keep a balance of things. I mean, if it was all my taste, that wouldn't really be fair, would it? So, in talking to John, you know, it's and discovering how much stuff he's got stored away on CDs and in his database, it's quite interesting. And some of that comes out in the show and the chat that I had with him.
Oh, lovely. We look forward to hearing that one. And I think as well, one of the things I quite often talk about is the fact that our musicians from the island in the scene have sort of catapulted themselves globally into the sort of scene across the world and done very, very well with it as well. We've got a lot to be proud of here with our trad scene.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know, when you think of how well Tom Callister's done and Adam Rhodes and then Isla Callister as well, and, you know, many others. Just today, in fact, that when we're talking, Elizabeth Davis and Daniel Quayle's album is being released with the help of Culture Van, and so that's a marvellous album, and I'll be playing some of that on the show and hopefully have them in as well.
Well, we're very excited for the future of the folk show, and obviously doing a grand job taking over from the legend that is John Kaneen, and with his blessing, which is lovely to hear as well. So just remind people when they can catch this lovely show.
Okay, the folk show is on Tuesday night between 9 and 10. Obviously, you can go to the website and go to the listen again, but now it's also available as a podcast, which would be great, because I must admit that's how I listen to a lot of my specialist music. When I'm in the car, I've downloaded a podcast, so you'll be able to do that now.
Fantastic, John. Lovely to catch up with you. Thanks for taking the time.
Thanks, Christy.